good morning, and welcome. Welcome indeed to another edition of the Panthers Report right here on the Mark Moses Show. And over the last couple of weeks, we've talked, cross country, track and field, soccer, volleyball, and it's now time to talk to this fine gentleman. And I'm so excited to get him on. I met him at his opening press conference this past summer there on the campus of Florida Tech. He is the new head basketball coach for the Panthers. He is Will Murphy. Coach, how you doing today?
I'm living the dream, man. I'm thrilled to be here.
Yeah, appreciate coming on. And I know you guys, you're there in fall camp. I know you're excited. Before we get to X's and O's and Jimmy's and Joe's, let's talk about you. The most obvious question, how excited are you to be the new head basketball coach there at Florida Tech?
I'm thrilled. I'm living out a dream. I've always wanted to be the head coach at the college basketball level, and grateful that Florida Tech has given me that opportunity, and I'm excited for the opportunity.
Well, I know you've been an assistant coach for a while now. If you could tell our viewers and listeners, where were you at before you came here to Florida Tech?
I spent the previous 8 years at Wofford College, Division I, Spartanburg, South Carolina, Southern Conference. We had a good deal of success there. Went to the NCAA tournament a couple times, including last year. And then before that, I was at Wake Forest, working for the basketball staff for 4 years. And before that, I was a manager and then walk-on at Wake Forest.
So did you play college basketball? I want to clarify this.
No, play is such a loose term, Mark. They gave me a jersey. I didn't do much playing of college basketball. I had a jersey. I sat on the end of the bench. I did a lot more cheering. I had a great seat for it. Mark, I'm the worst player. I'm the worst player in ACC history that's dad wasn't affiliated with an NBA organization or worth hundreds of millions of dollars. That's my claim to fame. I made the team through tryouts, but I was not a great basketball player.
See, what's interesting is the last couple of weeks talking to your fellow coaches at Florida Tech, a lot of them are former players who then, their collegiate career ended. Then they got into college coaching. What's interesting to you is you did not. Was it one of those things growing up, hey, I want to become a coach? Like, what was it?
Yeah, I knew from an early age. I think I started voicing around middle school that I was going to coach college basketball. I was realistic. I was a decent high school player. I wasn't a great high school player. And I knew that playing the game could only take me so far, but that I really loved it. So coaching seemed like the more obvious route for me, and that self-awareness, I think, has helped me as a coach. It hurt me as a player. You want your players to have a little delusion about how good they are. And unfortunately, I didn't have that.
When the job came open here at Florida Tech, did you start sending your resume? You make phone calls? What was the process like behind the scenes?
Yeah, I actually the first contact I had, we were going to play in the NCAA tournament, and a search firm reached out to me and said they're really good academic Division II is open. What's your interest level? And I said I'm absolutely interested. And the more research I did on Florida Tech, the more interest I had, and I had several friends that have taken Division II jobs, but I didn't know a ton about it. So I started calling them, and I said, well, here's the job, and here's what it entails, scholarship wise, budget, all the other things. And they all kind of said, I know, we think that could be a pretty good job. And so I called back and I said, yes, please let me interview. And I don't know, Zoomed interviewed with the cabinet and some of the search committee and athletic director Jamie Joss, and invited me to campus. I think I was one of the 3 that came to campus, and they wanted my wife to come. And I was like, well, maybe this is a good time to tell you my wife's 7.5 months pregnant. Hopefully that's not an issue, but we already started the process. I don't think I'd let them know that. And they said, okay, well, she can fly down. So my wife, God bless her, hopped on a plane with me, flew down. We did the interview. It was unbelievable. We did a 24-hour interview, but they brought us down for 48 hours. So we went to eat at downtown Melbourne after the interview. We saw a night launch. It was really cool. And we got back on the plane, and we flew back to South Carolina. We both kind of looked at each other. And we were like, well, we're going to say yes if we get this opportunity. So really grateful that worked out.
So did the athletic director, was there a phone call, an email when they offered you the job? What was that like?
I was actually at the Final Four. It was a phone call. I was at the Final Four, kind of sitting around. I'd interviewed probably, 8 days prior. And so I was like, kind of knew it was coming down the pipe one way or the other. And I got that phone call, I think the Thursday at the Final Four, and he said, "Job's yours if you want it." And I don't think I even let him finish the sentence. I was like, "I'm in. Let's do it."
That's awesome. Congratulations, buddy.
Thank you.
Who was the first person you called from the Final Four to let them know? Because your wife wasn't with you, right? At this moment.
My wife?
Mm.
My wife. So my wife was with me. She was in. We were. Yeah. So my wife flew to the Final Four 8 months pregnant. How about that?
Hey,
we walked around.
Your wife's a gamer.
No,
That's what I've seen here.
She is. I mean, the fact that she let me and then encouraged me to move our entire family right around with her being 8 months pregnant is pretty incredible. But yeah, so she was in the hotel room with me. So I mean, she couldn't hear every word that was happening in the conversation, but I think she knew it was going pretty good. And then I put her on speakerphone for the end after I had officially taken the job. First phone call. That's a great question. I'm not sure. I'd have to check the phone logs on that. It might have been my parents. I definitely shot a text out to some of my buddies in some group threads that knew I was involved. But first phone call, I don't know. I do know my wife was in there, and I do know if my wife had not been there and she had not have been the first phone call, I would have had a strong talking to about it. So she was the first to know. I'm sure of that.
I imagine your wife, who I met, is a very nice lady. I imagine she's 9 months pregnant. Hey, you want to go to the Super Bowl? Let's do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Afterwards, sometimes she can express a little bit of regret. She's like, "I don't know if I should have done that. That might have been a little bit." But in the moment, she's all about it.
Okay, so at your opening press conference there at the Clemente Center, I forget when it was, May, June. I know it was earlier this year. It's all been a blur the last couple of months for me. I apologize. So what's interesting? Yeah, so you did a great job. You're talking to everyone. It ends. I filmed it. A very nice couple comes up to me and goes, "Hey, can I get a copy of that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And I'm like, "Who am I speaking to?" "Yeah, that's our son. He's the new coach. Can we get a copy of that?" So the first people I met were your parents, who I know your wife's up there, but I think your mom and dad might be your biggest fans. Yeah. Is this correct, Coach?
No, they are. And so they kind of, both my mom played college basketball at Alabama. Both of them are huge college basketball fans. I grew up going to most of the Vanderbilt games when I was too young to remember. And so they kind of the ones that got my love affair with college basketball going. I don't think they intended me to pursue this as a career. But yeah, no, they make an effort to be at several games a year, and they're awesome.
That is really cool. I know they're going to be watching this, so I just want to give them a shout out. Hello,
Wayne and Dorothy. It's Wayne and Dorothy.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. All right, now that we got that out of the way, let's get to business then.
Okay.
Like you said, it's been a blur for you the last couple months. You had to move here. You're trying to figure out your team. How was the last couple weeks leading up to fall camp? Getting the roster, all that. What's that been like, Coach?
So that was a whirlwind. Right after I got offered the job, I don't know if it was the first phone call, but it was one of the first three. I offered the job to Zach Friesman, who ended up taking it to be the associate head coach. That was huge for me for several reasons. I competed against him in the Southern Conference. I had a lot of belief in him as a coach. He's a Florida native. He grew up in South Florida. His wife grew up in Central Florida. His wife's family's from Vero Beach. They had a small daughter, and he was at Coastal Carolina as an assistant coach this last year. And because I knew we had to put a roster together pretty quickly, I got down here with a week left before final exams, a week left that I could do workouts. It was important to me. There were several guys that were still around from the previous team that had an interest in staying. We did 5 workouts. We did 3 individuals, 2 team workouts, and literally, I met with all of them before and after. And I told them this is a dual evaluation process. Like, obviously, like, we're going to evaluate you and how we think you fit into what we'll try to do, but it's also a process for you to evaluate us, because, like, I'm going to be what you see is what you're going to get. And if you don't vibe with that, if you're not cool with that, or then that's totally fine. And so we went through that process. 6 players from last year's team ended up staying, which mean we needed to fill 9, and we did that in about the course of 2 months, and really pleased with the way it turned out. I mean, we tried to go in several different directions. We still recruited 3 high school kids. We took 2 grad transfers, one from the Division II level that played, one from the Division III level. We took 1 junior college kid, and we took 3 kids that transferred from the Division II level. So we signed 9 from very different areas. And then fall camp itself has gone great. I really like our team. Great kids. They're working incredibly hard. They're really bought in. I feel really grateful for that. Everyone keeps telling me how good the Sunshine State Conference is. I mean, literally every phone call, every time I talk to anybody from Florida, anybody that's familiar with Division II basketball, what's the first thing? Is like, wow, that's a beast of a league. Wow, that's a beast of a league. And they got me to the point where, like, if we were bringing the Lakers to the table this year, I'm sure we'd struggle. But I'm really excited for our team. Excited to see what we got.
Okay, so you had to get 9 players. So I bet there wasn't much sleep over those couple of weeks trying to get all that done. There probably wasn't. So
Yeah.
for our people who are watching this, all the Florida Tech fans,
Yeah.
how do you try to sell your program to this player? Like, especially moving forward with incoming recruits or transfer guys, what is your brand of basketball? How do you try to sell for them to come to play for Florida Tech?
So the sell piece is interesting because I think you got to be, for me personally, you have to be brutally honest with who you are and how you're going to run things, because I am a firm believer that you will get the right people on the train if you tell them everything it's going to be and what it's not going to be up front. So I think Florida Tech has a bunch of things going for it. Obviously the location, and the degrees, right? Particularly engineering, strong business degrees, psychology degree, and flight. We don't have anybody in flight, but we got guys in all those other programs. And then we're going to play team basketball. We're going to try to be the most competitive team in the Sunshine State Conference. We're going to get after it every day. This is a place to come if you want to get better. And if that's not what you're interested in, then that's cool too. If those things don't align with what you're looking for. For me, it was important. I want guys that want to come play for me, play for us, play in our system. But there also has to be another hook for Florida Tech, whether that be location, whether that be a degree, whatever that is, so that when you hit a little adversity or whatever, there's a reason to stay. Because if the only reason you're choosing anywhere is basketball, then there's always a shinier option. There's only 3 schools, maybe it's like Duke, Kansas, and North Carolina, and Kentucky. I don't want Big Blue Nation in my Twitter, but those may be the only places where there's not just a shinier place out there. So if that's the only driving force for you to going anywhere, there's always something shinier. And so I think that's kind of what we targeted, and we sold kids on, hey, there's an opportunity here. We're going to come hell or high water, we're going to figure out how to win. And this is a pretty cool campus. We're 2 miles from the Atlantic Ocean. We got it pretty good here. And if that's something that they aligned with, we had a pretty good shot to get them.
Very well said. And I tell that to people when you move here. Yeah, the beach is there, the theme parks are over there, but you have to work. Okay, this is not a vacation.
Yeah. I do feel like that is something with the beach. Is like, we do want to sell the beach because the beach is right there, but you don't want to sell the beach too hard, because then you'll get kids that just spend all day at the beach. We don't want that either.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm always big on, especially when I look for a job, and I always talk about this, and I want your thoughts on this, Coach, is where do I want to go, but where am I needed? I think that's very important sometimes. Like, hey, I want to go to Paris, France, but I have to go to work today. Okay. Like I need to go like do that. And I feel like if someone offered me a job, hey, Mark, we need you. I want to feel wanted. And I want, where can I grow and where can I succeed? Do you feel that way, especially when you look at that next generation?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's something we talk about in the recruiting evaluation process a lot, is like we're looking for mutual fits. Like when we get to the end of the process and it's a kid that I think we want, that's kind of what I'll tell them. I'm like, hey man, like we really think you fit us. Like here's the way that you fit us. Like, and here are the ways that like we could fit you and help you. Like boom, boom, boom. But like at the end of the day, like it has, like relationships, no matter what they are, marriages, recruitments, work, like they only work if it's mutual. So like I can feel all those things and I can have all the warm and fuzzies for you, but if you don't feel those things about us, like don't come here. It's not going to work out. But if you feel it and I feel it, like that's when special happens.
What brand of basketball do you want to play?
So we'll mostly be a motion-based offense, pretty free-flowing, very few rules, and we'll be unselfish. We'll be competitive. We'll make the right play. Defensively, so we're trying to run this thing a little bit like a football staff. Obviously, I'm the head coach. It all falls on my shoulders, but I've entrusted Zach Friesman to pretty much run the defense. So they'll run a similar system to what I saw work for them at Western Carolina. They were one of the top 2 defenses in our league, and they ran a highly analytical approach. Forcing a lot of mid-range twos and try to protect the rim and the three-point arc for the guys that shoot that. A mostly man-to-man system, but with some wrinkles. And so that's kind of what we'll do on both sides of the ball. I tell our guys all the time, like, you want to play fast? We will call plays on any time we get an opponent stop. We will not call we will call plays anytime the opponent scores. We will not call plays anytime we get a stop or a turnover. We will be out in transition. So I tell the guys all the time, like, you want to play fast? Like, you want to play with fewer rules? Then get stops, and we'll let you play free. But if they score, we're going to call a play.
Have you met a recruit or a current or former player that doesn't want to shoot the three? Is that possible? I mean,
that doesn't want to? No.
No.
Maybe has this. I've met some that have the self-awareness to know that they shouldn't, but doesn't want to? No.
Is that the Steph Curry effect, where every player in America now wants to shoot the three now?
Yeah, I mean, Steph's done a lot to change the game, I think, in that regard. Several other guys as well. Some of the bigger guys, the European influence on the game of the bigger guys shooting threes and being able to space the floor. But yeah, no, if we could field a roster that had 13 guys that can make threes in addition to being tough and rebound the ball, we would take it too. Now it's harder to guard when you can space the floor from 4 or 5 spots at all times.
Look, it's like I like it and I hate it at the same time as a guy that covers basketball. Like,
yeah.
I like the three. I do. But there's times on the court, and this is all levels, high school, college, NBA. Hey, someone's got to get a rebound once in a while. Like, is that fair if I look at how the game's changed?
Yes. All right. If you want to get analytical, there's the top 3 things that affect winning in basketball, right, is effective field goal percentage, offense and defense, which is essentially just adjusting for the fact that threes are worth more than twos. That's the most important thing to winning. So if your team has a higher effective, like, correlated with winning. Number 2 is turnover percentage, O&D. So, like, because essentially you're giving up opportunities for shots. And number 3 is offensive rebounding percentage. And so if you win those 3 categories, like, you're going to win, whatever it is, 98% plus of your games, because it's really hard to. And then if you win, 2 of the 3, especially if one's effective field goal percentage, you're going to win 80% plus. So yes, those other 2 things, taking care of the ball, forcing turnovers, offensive and defensive rebounding, they're still highly important to winning the games. But if just from a pure analytics standpoint, the way you shoot the ball versus the way your opponents is the most important factor in winning games.
I love it. I know that's what you said at the interview process, Coach. I love it. I didn't. What were you gonna say?
I don't know if I got that into the weeds with them, but yeah, no, it's I think you can hold both things. Like, you can be a basketball purist and love making the right play and the extra passes and the really special talents, and then at the same time, you can understand the numbers. Like, I don't think you have to be one way or the other. There's this fight of, like, old school basketball purists versus the analysts, and I think the really good guys in the game right now do both, because, like, they're not robots. The players are not robots, they're people. So you have to be able to understand that too, while understanding that, a guy taking 15 mid-range jumpers probably isn't the best thing for you winning basketball games either.
We're here with head basketball coach Will Murphy. All right, I'm completely confused by this next one. So you guys are going to start October 30th, end of the month, exhibition game at Florida Atlantic against the Owls.
Yep.
You're going to start the season, but no home games in November?
Trial by fire. So
what? So the first home game is in December? Well, all right, explain, coach. I don't get it.
Yeah, so we did not set out necessarily to do that. But when I got the job, and there wasn't a lot on the schedule for the next year. And trying to work through that, almost all of our in Florida, almost all the Division II teams are in our conference. There's only two other ones, is Flagler and Edward Waters, and Flagler wouldn't play us, so we're playing Edward Waters at Valdosta State in Georgia, and so we had to sign up for a lot of home and homes and that kind of stuff, and it was just, we were having a hard time getting people to agree to come down here in year one, so we ended up signing up for a lot of them where we go there in year one and they come back, so it'll set up. It could end up being a good thing, especially in year two, but it sets up where we're going to be mostly on the road in year one and mostly at home in year two. And that wasn't, that wasn't super intentional. It's just kind of the way it worked out.
It's okay. You'll take it.
Yeah. Trial by fire. It was important to me to play, the maximum 28 games. So you get 28 games in Division II basketball, especially in year one. Like, I wanted to play the max. So anybody that would play me, especially as we got towards the end of the process, like, I was willing to do it so we could get those 28 games in.
One of my favorite parts of college basketball is watching a team play in November to start, and then circling back to a team in February and seeing how they're progressing, how the teammates are clicking together. You said earlier you have 9 new players for this roster. Is that one of those things where, like, okay, this is going to be steps to see how we can get to the spring? Do you try to approach it here for year one?
Yes, but it's not a year one thing. I think that's an every year thing, because, like, I don't want to sell us short just because it's year one. The goal is to make the NCAA tournament, and that's how every season here will be judged here on out. Did we make the NCAA tournament or not? Starting this year, there's no amount of success that could happen this year that would make me feel good about the year if we didn't play in the NCAA tournament. That's the honest truth of it. But I do think you have to understand that men's college basketball is the longest sports season in college athletics. Like, it's 5-6 months. So, like, you have to try to be good in the beginning months, but you have to understand that, like, it's not a finished product and you are building towards the end, because the end is the most important part. So I think that's something you have to keep in mind in every season, because burnout is a real thing, especially now that they've opened up the rules and you can go more, and we're in fall camp right now and we're still going 4 times a week. And so, like, it has to stay fresh, because, like, if you've squeezed every ounce of what your players can give you out in January, then that's the best you got. But you want to peak in March. That's when you want to be playing your best. And so it is kind of a gradual process. That also aligns with our style of offense, because it's so free flowing and there aren't hard and fast rules, and we have so many new players. Like, it's just inevitable that the longer those guys play together, they'll get better at reading each other and their teammates and the defense and all those other things. So that's a little bit of a natural process.
Let's end with this with Coach. And I appreciate coming on. I know you're busy.
I'm thrilled to be here.
Okay. All right. Where are you from originally?
I'm originally from Murfreesboro, Tennessee, which is about 35, 40 minutes south of Nashville.
So, Tennessee Titans fan?
Yes. We still claim them. We still claim them.
That's your team. And then, like you said, Vandy, you grew up going to those games. Did you have an NBA team you rooted for growing up?
God, no, there wasn't. The Grizzlies weren't established in Memphis at the time. My NBA allegiance has always kind of, and it still is to this day, it's always kind of filtered based on players and who I root for. And now it's based on the guys that I know that are either coaching or playing at that level, and the guys that I like. So when I got to Wake, I always rooted for Tim Duncan and Chris Paul, and my college coach Jeff Bezdelik was the associate head coach for the Rockets for a while when they were making the run with James Harden and Chris, and so I always cheered for them. But my NBA allegiances have always fluctuated, and they've always been people based.
Okay, so at college, who is the best player you coached or you coached against that you saw in person? I know that's a tough one. There's a whole Rolodex of people you could say, but like in person where you're like, this guy's a problem. Now he's thinking.
I mean, we played against Cooper Flagg this year. He was really special.
That's a good answer. I saw him last night in exhibition game for Dallas, and he's blocking people and making plays already.
I mean, he's the best from recent memory. I'm trying to go through all my time at Wake. Like Grievous Vasquez was an incredible college player at Maryland. He would be up there for me as far as like guys we compete against. When I was at Wake, John Collins, his sophomore year, pretty much put our team on his back and delivered us to the NCAA tournament. I mean, he had an incredible sophomore year.
Did you see Zion Williamson?
Yeah, so I actually saw him play. So, I was at Wofford. Wofford's in Spartanburg. Zion went to Spartanburg Day School. So I actually saw him play in high school, but I never competed or prepared against him. Like we didn't play Duke the 1 year he was there. But yeah, I mean, I saw him play in high school. I saw him play against a really, really good Greensboro Day team who had several Division I players and some high major kids too. And I mean, he was a one-man show. I mean, he was incredible. How athletically gifted he is, and at his size, and it just doesn't look human. But now he's slimmed up. He looks thin. He looks good up there in this press conference. So excited to see what he does this year.
And the other thing, I know, like with your team or just recruiting overall, left-handed as well, which is you don't like. I've seen James Harden play, and my brain tries to compute how to guard him. Because you're so used to right-handed players, which is dominant but he's left-handed coming at you. It's bizarre.
Especially in ball screen coverages where a lot of it's just natural for people to force guys to the weak hand. And a lot of times for a lot of teams, that means they just force every guard left. So sometimes those guys have an advantage because teams are so used to forcing people left, and now they're forcing them to their strong hand.
I like your answer was Cooper Flagg. That was the first name you came. Yeah, that's a good answer. It is. All right.
He didn't have a great game against us, but we got worked pretty good. We got worked pretty good in that one last year.
All right, then. Best player at Watford who played for you guys?
Wofford? Fletcher McGee. Fletcher McGee. When Fletcher McGee left Wofford, he left as the all-time leading three-point shooter in college basketball history. I think he made 509 threes.
So he had the green light then to shoot the three.
Incredible. And he shot it at a 43%. You should go, seriously, if you get some free time today, just type in the YouTube Fletcher McGee shooting. You can waste 5 minutes pretty easily watching that.
Did he have places on the court where it's like, no, I'm not good at shooting the three? Or could he hit it from anywhere?
Anywhere. And it was unorthodox, and he was rarely facing the basket when he shot. I mean, he made he made 7 in the NCAA tournament against Seton Hall. He went 7 for 11. We won that game. I think he had several games where he had 10 plus threes. I mean, he was pretty incredible. It's worth the YouTube.
That is nice. All right. I know you guys got camp. Like you said, October 30th, Florida Atlantic's exhibition opener. Then you guys are Road Warriors in November. So this is going to be the key. When they get through that grind, get through Thanksgiving, then we're coming out to the Clemente Center in December.
Yes.
Very key. That's what we're gonna
Absolutely. December 6th, I think, is our first home game. Well,
That's going to be awesome.
hopefully we'll have a little momentum going behind us at that point.
Coach, thank you so much for coming on, and good luck on the new season for Panthers basketball, all right?
Thanks, Mark. I really appreciate you having me on.